Which brings us to the protesters. One can only choose his or her weapons after knowing the weapon of the rival, they say. The Hong Kong government used excessive force to curb the protests, but it has only led to a reverse reaction. The protesters have grown more organized. They've grown in numbers. They've learned to make the whole world know about the problem at home. And they have learned the art of self-defense. Unlike the 2014 Hong Kong protests, this time these protesters have formed a decentralized movement. But they're organized with precision. Be it the protests by the airport staff or the march in the WION station, their opposition to the government has been solid and sustained. Interestingly, no one has claimed leadership over the protests. This is something that we cannot highlight enough. But Joshua Wong's Demosisto, CHRF, and many localized groups have led this protest and the protest marches over the last 8 weeks. Many pro-democracy legislators were also present in these protests, but they did not lead. None of them is a leader. They're all participants. They largely play a supporting role.
And my personal take is that I'm so worried what happened in Beijing today, this afternoon, would actually help fan the fire of what's already been a tsunami of protest in Hong Kong. The way they say they would absolutely or resolutely, rather, support Carrie Lam and the police force. They're trying to divide Hong Kong into two parts, right?
The protesters have handled the issue of logistics brilliantly so far. It could be because of the experience of 2014, but they've set up local medical stations. They ensure supplies and communicated their opposition during these protests. In the online space, they've created forums to brainstorm ideas of the protest. These are multi-category forums that we're talking about. This one's called Hong Kong's version of Reddit.com. On this forum, several protesters shared their ideas. Hackers have also contributed to this protest. Personal data of more than 600 police officers is said to have been leaked online. This is simply cyber-bullying the police, but that has helped in keeping some of these police officers in check. The protesters have used novel ways to appeal against the government. On Friday, they even used the voice of announcer at the Hong Kong International Airport to drive home their opposition to the extradition bill.
Please join our peaceful assembly on the 26th of July, Friday, at the Hong Kong International Airport. It's time for us, as members of the aviation industry, and more importantly, members of Hong Kong, to show the government our firm stance. They are urged to promptly respond to the 5 demands from Hong Kong people, which have been repeatedly stated during the protests in recent weeks. Kindly put on your masks and black T-shirt with you when attending the assembly. Once again, we thank you sincerely for your support. Hong Kongers will always stand in unity to fight for our rights and freedom, so as to restore the international city's safe, autonomous, liberal status it has always been. It has been a pleasure flying with you. We hope to see you soon again on coming Friday. Thank you.
Now the question is, why are they so motivated this time? They dread the extradition bill. The bill will help China target activists in Hong Kong. We all know that surveillance is pretty much the tool of China's state to protect its authority. Hong Kong has long cherished its freedom, but the extradition bill is going to pretty much end the civil liberties here. And the protesters know that if they do not fight against China's authoritarianism this time, then they may never get another chance. China, for its part, still continues to threaten all these people.
无法第一，违法必究。我想，这是任何一个法治社会的基本要求。而法治是香港人长期引以为傲的一个核心价值。我们想说的是，任何主张，无论自认为都不能以违法的方式来进行，更不能诉诸暴力。暴力就是暴力，违法就是违法，其性质不会因为它标榜了什么。
It's a bit rich coming from China. Beijing wants protesters to abide by the rule of law, but it has said precious little about its own authorities provoking violence. There's another question. China has repeatedly said that Western countries are behind these protests. It hasn't bothered elaborating on who these foreign forces of Western countries are, and that's where the story stands.